Yo, what's up guys, this is IBT, Mortal Boxing Truth channel, and today I just want to do a quick post-fight thoughts of the Katie Taylor versus Delphine Persoon, as well as the Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin fights that happened this past weekend. This was on the Matchroom card, I saw it on DAZN. Both great fights, so let me just kind of get into it, starting out with the co-main event, which is the Katie Taylor versus Delphine Persoon breakdown. So in round one, I thought that Taylor had some great work early as she figured out Persoon's patterns on trying to get on the inside, and she was overextending a lot. Persoon cut off the ring very well, but Taylor had the better counters, jabs, and movement throughout the round, and her defense exiting the clinch was very good as well, so I gave that round to Taylor. Then in round two, another superb round by Katie Taylor as Persoon was countered badly, and some serious visible damage was now apparent on Persoon's cheekbone and face. Taylor had some good defense on the inside and outboxed Persoon in the mid-range, luring her in with jabs, countering her, and moving her head well in and out of the clinch. So I also gave that round to Katie Taylor. Again, this is a very competitive fight overall, but in these two rounds, very clearly Taylor was controlling the pace, and Persoon seemed to be looking for answers. At this point, Persoon's already cut. I believe her nose is broken in this round, and she even says this in the post-fight interview. So now let's go into round three, which is a much better round for Persoon, as she seemed to lure Taylor in for a brawl. They both stunned each other at one point in the round and took a small break after the high action and intensity. It was very competitive, and it could be a swing round, but in my opinion, the body work and the big shots from both, but I edge Delphine Persoon. Going to round four, it was a very messy round. Lots of sloppy work from both fighters. This was a very rugged and tough round in terms of not a lot of clean shots. Very, obvious apparent body work, but I did feel that Taylor had the cleaner shots. I thought her defense was superior. I thought her footwork was great when she decided to use it, and she, again, reoccurring theme you'll see is the counters and the combinations she was employing. Persoon landed good shots, but Taylor's were better, so I gave that round to Katie Taylor. Now going into round five, both fighters are extremely active in terms of volume. It was a highly competitive round and a swing round in my opinion. Taylor was still demonstrating the better defense and counterpunching, but she was definitely fighting Persoon's fight in terms of the geography of the fight, as in they were both standing right in front of each other in the ring. I favored Taylor's defense slightly, combined with her counterpunching, although I could see if you gave this round to Delphine Persoon. Like I said, I personally gave it to Katie Taylor. Now in the sixth round, Persoon was able to force or maybe persuade Taylor to stand in front of her to trade. Maybe Taylor thought she had some good work in the last round, which I thought she did, but this is clearly Persoon's rhythm. This is the type of fight she wants. Taylor had some good sharp counters to the body as well as upstairs, but Persoon's volume and pressure really took over this round, and that was apparent. So I gave that round 6, to Delphine Persoon. Now going to round 7, it seems that Taylor had learned her lesson. She boxed much better compared to the previous round. She moved well, she was jabbing, fighting on the back foot with combination counter punching, something very good, especially with someone with Persoon's style who's going to be walking forward relentlessly. Taylor's superior defense shined brightly in this round, as it was showing early into the fight. Taylor counters her well, has good combinations, and overall is able to keep Persoon off of her. So I gave that round to Katie Taylor. Going to round 8, very slippery canvas in this round. Taylor must have gone down a couple times from slipping, and even at the end of the round, the referee did as well, so they had to wipe it down. But Persoon hit Taylor while she slipped, and Taylor hit back. This caused a bit of aggravation from both parties, because, Taylor was down, Persoon hit her, Taylor gets up, and she hits Persoon during a break. It was a difficult round to score due to the interruptions, but I just thought Persoon saw more success late and stunned Taylor for a second there at the end of the round, so I gave that one to Persoon. Going to round 9, great round by Taylor, who moved and boxed on the back foot very well, knowing when to use the jab, combination counter-punching, the body shots to stop Persoon. She walked Persoon into some solid counter-punches, and her defense shined in this round, so I gave that round to Katie Taylor. going to the 10th round, all I had to say was, wow, what a fantastic fight between these two women in the rematch. Great round where Taylor spent the first half of the round boxing, and the second half they were both brawling basically, just punch for punch, neither of them giving up an inch. I had this as a swing round completely, like 50-50. It could have gone either way, but I personally had it in favor of Persoon. Like I said, I thought Taylor was doing the better work in the early half, but I thought Persoon did more damage in the second half. And that leaves me with the final score of Katie Taylor 96-94. I thought it was a great fight. I wouldn't mind a trilogy at all. I thought this was the right decision, which was a unanimous decision in favor of Katie Taylor. Yeah, excellent performance by both ladies. One little note before I get into the positives of the fight. I thought that the scorecard of 98-93 was too wide to be reasonable, and even Katie Taylor seconded that opinion in a post-fight interview. That judge must have given Katie Taylor every single swing round and competitive round, and then some. I think that's definitely a disservice to, focus on that, because the other two judges did get it right, but I just wanted to point that out. I don't want that to be the focus of the fight, essentially. But in terms of the actual rounds of the bout, I felt it was a very entertaining mix of styles and entertaining back and forth with the boxing match and brawl at points in between rounds, certain rounds, I thought that Persoon brought an admirable, relentless pace to the fight, her ability to take shots and keep coming forward. Even with her, like she said, she had a broken nose. I'm not sure if that's confirmed, but that's what she thought. Clearly she had difficulty breathing then. Very impressed with the heart and durability she demonstrated, whereas Katie Taylor once again put on an excellent display of boxing, technique, and heart. Katie Taylor was able to outbox the taller fighter, bigger fighter, move well on the back foot, land counter jabs, hooks, uppercuts, combinations as Persoon was walking forward. Katie Taylor, for the most part of the rounds, was able to slip, defend, and move her head off the center line to take some steam off of Persoon's blows. Katie Taylor, even with all of her success in combination punching and counters, however, wasn't actually able to put Persoon on the back foot. But that wasn't really an issue, as Taylor's best work was when she was on the back foot, boxing Persoon with the superior shot selection. I'm going to reiterate, I give the fight to Katie Taylor 96-94, winning rounds, let me check. Rounds 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 9. So, yeah, overall great fight. And looking at what's going to happen afterwards, you have Jessica McCaskill, recently dethroned, longtime reigning undisputed champion Cecilia Brækhus. Katie Taylor's already beaten McCaskill before, so their rematch would be interesting considering that McCaskill is now the undisputed champion at the division above. Especially Persoon in the post-fight interview mentioned that she might want to move down to super featherweight, which is already an excellent division in women's boxing. So I'm definitely excited to see what both these women can do going forward. And that'll be it for this fight. Now let's move on to the Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin. Now let's get into this Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin fight in round 1. Very competitive and cagey first round between the two of them. Fair bit of probing and feinting to gauge how they'd both react. Yeah, both guys very seasoned. Povetkin obviously a veteran of the sport, and Dillian Whyte experienced in his own regard, having faced Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora twice, Oscar Rivas, Robert Helenius, and other, worthy heavyweights. I thought maybe in terms of scoring, Povetkin might have slightly edged out the round just based on activity, but I already saw Whyte starting to invest to Povetkin's body, trying to get him to get tired later. Some good counterpunching by both of them. But I just thought Povetkin was a little more explosive, a little more active that round, so I gave that one to him. Now in round 2, both of these guys start throwing heavy shots. Whyte countering to the body well when Povetkin is opening up. One thing I did notice was Whyte was going off balance when being defensive on the back foot, and this is a little bit of foreshadowing. I didn't realize at the time, but I didn't really like how he was leaning forward, all his weight on this front foot. Leaning forward with his arms shelled up. I just thought the weight distribution was off. I felt either his body was exposed or exposed to an uppercut. Whyte was landing good jabs and Povetkin was landing good hooks himself. However, I favored the round towards Dillian Whyte due to the stronger, cleaner shots, counter punches landing from Whyte. Now in round 3, both fighters start throwing heavy leather, right? Whyte is luring Povetkin in successfully with jabs and lazy jabs, trying to bring him in. Whyte countering well in this round, something that we've seen him do, but he was doing it quite often against Povetkin, so I was impressed. Povetkin, a top fighter, obviously, countering to the body, and may even have stunned Povetkin a little at one point. Povetkin did kind of reel back on his heels, but maybe he was just off balance. I felt overall Dillian Whyte performance was quite good so far, technically, and he overall had the more impactful shots, so I gave round 3 to Dillian Whyte. Now, round 4 was a fantastic round for Dillian Whyte. He dropped Povetkin with the 2 counter right hands as Povetkin was backing up. He kind of turns his body a little, and Whyte fires off a left hook, and he drops him. It was a bit of a flash knockdown, but it was also Whyte capitalizing on Povetkin's off balance. Basically, he had his feet in the wrong spot, and he opened up a good angle on him and dropped him. Povetkin is dropped to his knee. He comes back well for the remainder of the round into the final moments of the round, where Whyte actually catches and shoots a mean right uppercut to catch and drop Povetkin again. That one looked a little more serious, like it sustained some more damage, and really just technically Dillian Whyte looked very calm, very poised. He won all 3 minutes of that round, in my opinion, at least from what I remember when I wrote down. Great usage of the jab, and obviously I had to give that round 10-7 to Dillian Whyte due to the 2 knockdowns. And that's where round 5 starts. And almost right out of the gate, Povetkin, seems to be recovering. Dillian Whyte very poised, very calm, collected, like I said, using the jab well. However, he commits the mistake I mentioned earlier where he puts all of his weight onto his front foot and bends down at the waist. This is the same position that got him dropped and knocked out versus Anthony Joshua and dropped versus Oscar Rivas against the ropes. This is a similar situation, except he was trying to rotate while doing that, and but Povetkin lands a very nice jab into a left hook across. Gets great torque, good footwork, just really beautiful, perfect form, and it absolutely flattens out and knocks out Dillian Whyte before he even lands on the canvas. There was no way he was getting up. The ref stops the fight instantly, and Alexander Povetkin, at the age of 40, becomes the new WBC interim heavyweight champion and the WBC diamond champion. More importantly, ending Dillian Whyte's long win streak and taking his WBC mandatory position, something that's been very well documented in the heavyweight division. Absolutely insane fight. I remember being here in my room. I wrote down the rest of the page is just me screaming on text, basically. But the next morning, I rewatched the fight, collected my thoughts a little more, and honestly, I have to say Dillian Whyte was having a very solid performance that increasingly appeared to be more impressive. Like, I was genuinely just impressed with his technique, his skills, the way he had developed. I thought he came in tremendous shape. He looked good in the weigh-in. He came in at a fair weight. Round 1 through 4, was improving. And it just seemed like this deficiency we've seen with him, being susceptible to the uppercut due to the way he has his guard, weight distribution, bending at the waist. Povetkin got the perfect, technically beautiful shot and just knocks him out. That was an amazing win, knockout of the year in my opinion, by Alexander Povetkin over Dillian Whyte, who's at least top 5 heavyweight in the division, and he was scheduled to go against the winner of Fury and Wilder 3, and now because he has lost, he's going to rematch Alexander Povetkin. They had a rematch clause. Excellent fight. I thought Dillian Whyte was going to win the points. I didn't think he'd knock out Povetkin. I thought if he did, it would be late rounds, but Povetkin showed why he's still top 10 and been top 10 for well over a decade. The guy has great skills, good technique, veteran tactics. He knows himself very well, and he got a great win late in his career, and it's going to lead to another big fight with Dillian Whyte, highly anticipated, at least by my account. So that's my analysis of that fight. Maybe I'll do some film study of these two if they have, if their rematch gets announced. But yeah, this is my post-fight thoughts for the August 22nd DAZN card, and just great fights. If you liked the video, comment down below, and peace.